Welcome to The Explainer, where today we're diving into an engineering disaster that's so bizarre it sounds like something out of a movie. It's a story about a tiny mistake that led to a catastrophe of, frankly, biblical proportions. So, here's the question. How does a 1,300-acre lake just disappear? In 3 hours, no less. It sounds completely impossible, right? But on November 20th, 1980, that is exactly what happened at Lake Peigneur in Louisiana. An entire lake, gone, in less time than it takes to watch a movie.
And this is one of the only things left. A single chimney, just standing there. It's this haunting reminder of the sheer power of what happened that day. A silent witness to a landscape and a community that was changed forever.
But before all the chaos, before this massive vortex opened up, it was just a completely normal Thursday morning on what they call Jefferson Island. Nothing out of the ordinary at all. So you've got these two worlds, totally separate, operating at the same time. On the surface of the lake, there's a Texaco oil platform drilling for oil. And then way down below, we're talking 1,300 feet, you have the Diamond Crystal Salt Mine, this massive network of tunnels. Two worlds existing in parallel, and they had no idea they were on a collision course. Okay, so this is where it all begins to unravel. A tiny problem, something that should have been manageable, is about to set off a chain reaction that nobody could stop.
It's about 8 a.m., and the crew on that oil rig hits a snag. Their drill bit, just 14 inches wide, gets stuck deep underground. Now for them, this is just frustrating, right? A bad day at the office. They have absolutely no clue what they've just done.
So they're trying to get this thing free, and then they hear it. These loud, sharp popping noises coming from deep underground. And then the unthinkable happens. The entire rig, a 150-foot tall structure, starts to tilt violently. They knew right then and there, this wasn't just a stuck drill. They had to get out, and fast. They abandoned everything and raced for the shore, literally escaping with their lives. So what on earth was going on? Well, it all came down to a single but catastrophic human error, a geospatial miscalculation. Basically, an engineer used the wrong map system. Imagine putting coordinates for one type of map onto a totally different type of map. Because of that one tiny mistake, the drill was way off target, and it punched right through the ceiling of the salt mine. And once that hole was punched, well, the lake started to drain. It's like pulling the plug on the world's biggest bathtub. What happened next was, well, it was a complete nightmare. That tiny 14-inch hole, it didn't stay small for long. The fresh water from the lake started dissolving the salt around the puncture at an incredible speed. The hole grew and grew until it became this massive, swirling whirlpool. A vortex a quarter-mile wide just opened up where the rig used to be. A maelstrom of just unbelievable power. How much water are we talking about? 3.5 billion gallons. That's how much water was in that 10-foot deep lake. And all of it, every last drop, was sucked down into the earth. Just gone. And this whirlpool just started consuming everything. It swallowed the entire $5 million drilling rig, a tugboat, 11 barges. It just kept going, ripping 65 acres of land right off the island. A house, a parking lot, hundreds of trees, all of it just pulled into the abyss. But in the middle of all this destruction, something amazing happened. It was a race against time for the people there. A fisherman barely made it to shore just in time to watch his boat get swallowed. And deep down in the mine, an electrician saw this wall of muddy water and hit the alarm. All 55 miners, all of them, made it to the one elevator and got out just moments before the tunnels completely flooded. It's an absolute miracle, but not a single life was lost. And just when you think it can't get any crazier, it does. The disaster was far from over. In fact, things were about to get really, really weird. It's like nature itself just got flipped completely upside down. Okay, get this. The suction created by the now empty lakebed was so strong that it actually reversed the flow of the Docambre Canal. This is a canal that always flows south into the Gulf of Mexico, but not this day. The ocean was literally flowing backward, inland, to fill the giant hole. And that reverse flow, it created a waterfall, a 164-foot waterfall pouring into the lakebed. This became, for a short time, the tallest waterfall in the entire state of Louisiana. And it flowed like that for 2 straight days. Just incredible. Meanwhile,
All that water pouring into the mine had to push the air out, right? And it didn't come out gently. This compressed air just erupted from the mine shafts, creating these huge geysers that shot 400 feet into the air. Just imagine seeing that.
So once the chaos settled down, what was left? Let's talk about the aftermath, because this landscape and the lives of the people there were changed forever.
The lake wasn't just gone, it was completely remade. Before, it was a shallow, 10-foot deep freshwater lake. After, it became a 200-foot deep saltwater lake. In fact, it's now the deepest lake in Louisiana. The entire ecosystem, everything, was permanently altered.
So of course, lawsuits followed. In the end, Texaco paid out a ton of money in out-of-court settlements. About $32 million to the salt company, another $12.8 million to some local gardens. But what about the miners? The 55 men who escaped and the hundreds of others who lost their jobs overnight. They got nothing, not a single cent.
So you'd think after something this insane, this world's weirdest engineering disaster, we'd have learned a lesson, right? You'd think.
Well, frighteningly, it seems like we didn't. Because fast forward just 32 years to 2012, a nearly identical mistake, mining too close to the edge of a salt dome, caused another massive disaster, the Biocorn sinkhole. It created a 37-acre sinkhole and forced hundreds of people from their homes. It's literally the same story all over again.
And that brings us to today, and a final, pretty unsettling thought. Those very same salt caverns under Lake Peigneur, they're now being used to store highly pressurized natural gas. So it really makes you wonder, what could possibly go wrong?